How would you define American identity?
I think the idea of the American identity is not necessarily clear. Because I think there's just so many different cultures that came to America and so many different people settled here from different belief systems and cultures. So I think there's this idea of like there's supposed to be this one American dream, but in reality there's lots of different separate ones. And I think that's why partially some of our first establishments didn't necessarily go completely as
You were just
planned.
talking about the English class.
I don't know.
Okay, so American identity, I don't know. it's hard to tell because there's so many like cultures in America that I don't know. It's just hard to tell.
I think it's kind of like a person's identity, how you don't really know every single part of it. So like you know the parts that you're affected by or you've seen before. But I think it's interesting because every person has a different perspective and a different sense of identity for it.
You know, like what would be like the Asian identity? Would be like
Asian.
I personally agree with the historian Colin Woodard's point of view for American identity. It's spread out between all of the different regions of America because of the time and places that settlers came from. The settlers came from. Like you know how the Northeast is very protective of their religion and very high in their beliefs and like all for education. So a lot of their humanities are.
I think for a lot of people, the American identity means freedom.
More emphasized, whereas the West Coast was founded by people who focused in technology, like the Silicon Valley and the Northwest region. And like the South was obsessed with slavery, so they formed slavery. So there really wasn't an American identity in the beginning, and then coming from then to now, there still really hasn't been an American identity. It's been more split up between all the different regions and all their political views. Just like Indiana now doesn't agree with a lot of the states in their gay marriage, their laws on gay marriage.
Obviously, there is not just one definition to the Parisian identity. I mean, the American identity. But we shall analyze how the Declaration of Independence and the cotton gin shaped freedom in America. If you don't know what the hell a cotton gin or the Declaration of Independence is, I got you covered, don't worry. Let's start with the cotton gin.
Let me set the scene for you here. You have this young Yale graduate who just really has a lot of debts that he has to pay off. So he finds his opportunity in a private tutor down in the South. So when he goes down there, he sees this huge problem in the production of cotton. They're able to grow it really well, but when it comes to actually harvesting it and producing it, that's when they ran into problems. So there are two types of cotton. There's the long staple cotton, which grows on the coast, and is very easy to pick the seed from. It's very profitable. And then the cotton that grows more inland is a little bit tougher to work with, and it just was really causing a lot of economic strain for the farmers that had to grow it. To solve this problem, him and his business partner, Phineas Miller, made something called the cotton gin, which completely revolutionized the South. It was able to pick cotton much faster than it ever could have by hand. So it's really cool if you ever get to see it. It's this plain box with a crank on the outside. And inside there are these pulleys and drums, and when you crank it, the seeds get removed, and you're left with just the product that you want. In 1794, the patent for the cotton gin was granted. Now this is a really big deal because we see it declining a lot right now. The soil is completely dried up, it's overproduced, so cotton is booming like crazy, like you couldn't imagine. This cotton gin could produce 50 pounds of cotton a day. It was a very expensive piece of machinery, so a lot of farmers tried to replicate it and create their own, but in my opinion, Eli Whitney's and Phineas Miller's was the best there was.
And now the Declaration of Independence.
The purpose of the Declaration of Independence is stated in its name. The New World wanted to divide away from the British because they were fed up with the unfair treatment, and a bunch of events led up to this happening, from such as like the Boston Massacre, the Sugar Act, Stamp Act, French and Indian War, and they really just wanted to start a new land and a new society where they could spread their common beliefs and morals. Now, all these wars and all the acts that were enlisted, there was a lot of tension created between the 13 colonies under British control. And this ultimately led up to the Declaration of Independence being written. The Declaration of Independence was enacted on July 4th, 1776. This document declared its independence from the British control, thus the birth of the United States of America. America the free!
So you were like, American identity? Freedom? What's the Declaration of Independence again?
The connection.
You know, though the cotton gin was beneficial for the economy, the invention only supported wealthy white men. Because it took less time to rid the cotton of its seeds, the planters required more slaves to reel the cotton out faster and in larger bulks. Evidently, the mass production of cotton boosted the economy. But as America seemed to take steps closer to a slave-free country, the cotton gin placed her back at the starting line. In 1790, there were only 6 slave states. But by 1860, 9 more states had converted to slavery.
The expansion of the slave trade completely contradicts the enactment of the Declaration of Independence. See, America was claiming their freedom from the British. They were saying, you know, we're going to go off and create our complete and total free and sovereign state, yet they weren't granting freedom to everyone. They were only granting it to the white males of the country. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The line "all men are created equal" only encompassed the white man. It didn't really mean that all men were created equal. Even so, this small step to freedom really set the groundwork for everyone to find it later, including the slave emancipation, women's right to vote, the civil rights movement. This was the first step for America.
See you soon!